Hello, and welcome to the Sugar Bell Review, a program dedicated to learning about the people, places, and policies that make up the Bellbrook Sugar Creek community. Our goal is to discover the vast diversity of interests, talents, and cultures that fill our neighborhoods. This stage is a place for voices to be heard, life experiences to be shared, and love to be spread. We want to celebrate the things that make us unique and the things that bring us together. We are Bellbrook Sugar Creek, and together we are strong. Thank you so much for tuning in this Sunday. Today we have joining us Mr. Graham, the County Auditor. We hope to find out a little bit more about him, and we hope to find out a little bit more about what the Auditor's Office does in general. So thank you for joining us tonight.
Well, thank you for inviting me. So I know I've been the auditor now for about 10 years, but of course I've had a long work history prior to that. I started with the State Auditor's Office. Actually, when I was in college, I interned with NCR. When those jobs moved, I started with the State Auditor's Office. So I spent about 10 years working there, and now I've been in the County Auditor's Office for about 20. About 8 or 9 of them I've been the elected auditor.
So you've essentially crunched numbers for most of your life.
Yeah, yes, actually that's, I've always likened being an accountant to somebody who likes to do a jigsaw puzzle. Everything has its place, and then you just have to work sometimes to find it. So.
Well, that's really neat. So have you always been local then?
Yes, yeah, I grew up in Xenia, lived there all my life, continue to live there, went to Wright State, so I didn't even go away to school. I stayed in Xenia my entire life.
Have you got a family?
Yes, so I have a wife, 4 children, age range from 22 to about 34. The oldest is currently in Guantanamo Bay at the Naval Station there,
Wow.
And then the youngest is at Ohio State.
Oh, congrats. Definitely. And any pets?
Yes, yeah. Currently, we just have the one dog, and then I don't know if you call a cat that is one of my children's girlfriends. Is that a step cat or something like that? But we have a cat and a dog that live in the house with us.
Awesome. Well, our last guest had half a cat, so, you know.
Oh. Half a cat's tough to do. Yeah, I did see that.
Yes, definitely. So a step cat actually makes just as much sense in context.
Yes.
So, did you always want to be an auditor or an accountant?
I think when I started at Wright State, I knew I would be in the College of Business, and when I was taking college, the intro classes, the accounting classes were the most exciting to me. So I actually have a dual degree in accounting and finance, but I don't do anything on the finance side, so I'm pretty strictly just an accountant.
So do you have any hobbies outside of numbers?
Not a whole lot. I work with wood a little bit. I like to take care of the yard. The yard always needs to look nice, and then I like to cook. So I've cooked for several graduation parties and things like that. I enjoy smoking pork butts and briskets and ribs, and so I do a lot of that.
Sounds like fun. That sounds yummy. It sounds like you're making me think that dinner sounds good right about now, doesn't it?
It does actually. Tonight's dinner is fried fish, actually. So.
Ooh, yum. All right. Well, so could you tell us a little bit more about the Auditor's Office itself? Because I know, obviously, we've met you on several occasions in regards to learning about the property taxes that have to do with the school levy, and there was discussion about the upcoming appraisal. Right. But does the Auditor's Office, are they responsible for more than that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I do personally, I spend probably about 75% of my time dealing with either property values or property taxes, because that's the thing that we do that impacts the public the most. And so that's where most of the personal interaction occurs. But the auditor is also the chief fiscal officer for the county. So every check that goes out with the county's name on it has been audited by my staff and is approved before it gets mailed out. We handle the payroll for about 1,200 employees, including all the reporting and deductions. There's a lot of other, I always say the auditor has the job title like many other people say they do of other duties as assigned, and I think because back when they created the auditor position, it was one of the few full-time positions. So we also sell dog licenses, and vendors licenses. And until a recent law change, we actually sold circus licenses, but no county auditor in the state had ever actually sold one. So we actually had it changed in the law, so we weren't responsible for doing something that we had no clue how to do. So we also certify weighing and measuring devices. So everybody does get to see my name when they fill up their gas tank.
And the Kroger, like
Yep.
self-checkout scanners.
Yes, the scanners, because they are weighing devices. So if you buy produce, they're of course weighing that produce to determine the price.
So it's your department that controls and makes sure those are all even for
Yes.
us. Well, thank
Yes,
you. We
sir.
appreciate the work on behalf of keeping our vegetables all right price.
At least the right weight
Yes,
per
well,
price.
correct weight per price. Yes.
So
That's cool. I had no idea that you guys were responsible for so much that happens within the community.
yeah. So the accounting function is probably the second largest portion of what we do. I know if you visit our website, we have a lot of financial information out there. If you want to learn more about the county and where it spends its money, that's information that we always like to make sure the public is informed and try to give a lot of tools for the public to
So
see things.
which county employees do you guys do the payroll for? All of them?
All
or-
of them.
Okay.
So, and then there's other agencies for which I'm the fiscal officer, like the health district is a separate government entity, but I'm their fiscal agent, so I process all of their transactions as well.
And you also make sure that they're spending money, so whenever they write a check, that you verify that it was for what it was used for the right purpose and it was used for something that was correct from that agency.
Correct.
Well, that's
Yes,
neat.
yeah. Make
That's-
sure it's reported in the correct category even. So obviously you have different financial reporting categories that I'm probably making a lot of listeners right now roll their eyes in the back of their head listening to an accountant talk and actually be excited about accounting.
Well, it's a puzzle. I mean, there
Yes.
is. You were saying it.
Yes.
You got to figure out where everything goes and make sure it's in its correct place.
Right.
And it makes a pretty picture that way, right?
Right. An accurate picture. It's not always a pretty picture.
Probably true when it comes to money. So, how long have you been doing this? I think you said, was it 30 years now?
Yeah, so I've been in government accounting for about 30 years now. That's
Goodness. That is a lot of time.
It is, and I still enjoy almost every day. I can't say you enjoy every day, but I'm going to guess not many people get to say that they enjoy every day at work. So it's a lot of fun. I enjoy the personal interaction with the people. That's probably the thing I like doing most. I work very hard at trying to get information out, speaking to different public groups and explaining how taxes work. So that's kind of where my passion is right now is I want to get more information out. I want people to understand government.
It is a very complex subject.
Yes.
We have discovered that
Yes.
over the last few months. It is definitely a complex subject.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I mean, as a community, it's definitely helpful to have the correct information available because there's a lot of places you can get information. And so knowing that you've got a source that's solid is
Right.
probably very helpful.
Right.
So we are appreciative
Yeah,
of
and
you taking the time and effort
like I
to
said,
help.
I just think people, if they understand, they will become more involved in the process. And so we have to take that opportunity to make sure they understand how different things within government work. It's become a lot more complicated than what I believe it needs to be, but this is where we have to inform people so that they can make intelligent decisions on the information before them.
I can only imagine it's gotten increasingly more complex. I mean, being in the game as long as you have been, you've probably seen quite a few changes come through the pipes.
Absolutely, yes. It's, I mean, the coronavirus money alone that is being passed through from the federal government to the states. States are getting ready to send it out to the locals, and that's a lot of regulations that when we send it out to a township, they're going to expect me to have a certain level of expertise on what that money can be used for and how to account for it. So,
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of work. And you said you've been in the office by yourself the last couple of months because of the virus as well.
yeah, well, our office opened back up on May 4th, I believe. We stayed closed to the public for that first week, but yeah, up until the emergency was declared till May 4th, I was talking to myself a lot, and I'm really happy to have staff back to talk to. So I discovered I'm not the most exciting person in the world.
Well, we're having a good time here. I think you're doing fine. You can just discuss what recipes you want to work on next.
Yes, there you go.
Now, I do wonder, because obviously you are very involved in your work, it sounds like.
Right.
Do you have any way to decompress? Any place you can go that gives you a little bit of respite from the busyness of normal life?
Yeah, so a couple of times a year, my family, a distant family, but they have about 200 acres in Tennessee that they let me come and hang out on. And a lot of times my brother and I will go and we'll take whatever kids are available with us. And we just go and, your cell phones don't work, your computer doesn't work. So it's literally just hiking and fishing and cooking dinners over an open fire. It's actually a lot of fun.
That does sound like it.
For a few days. I can only be disconnected for so long, though, so it's...
Yeah. Then you got to get back into the swing of things,
yes,
right?
Exactly, exactly.
Well, that sounds like a really good time, especially when you spend, it sounds like, a lot of your time dealing with complicated issues.
Right.
I know the appraisal is one that's on everybody's mind, and you guys are, I suspect, working on trying to figure out how to make that fit in with the new landscape.
Yeah, yes.
So.
I mean, there's a lot of challenges with the new appraisal. We're ready to go. I've submitted the tentative abstract because it has to be approved by the Department of Taxation. But we're really working on how are we going to get information out to the public. So obviously, going out and speaking in front of large groups is probably not going to be the smartest way for us to do it. So we're going to look to do a lot of videos, a lot of chat room type features where people can ask questions and we can answer them. Because we do invite the public to comment, and we will have a lot of information, a lot of tools available on our website that will allow people to see how we arrived at their values. So it's going to be exciting. It's new challenges, time we've never faced, and how are we going to be able to disseminate that information?
Well, hopefully you can become a regular on here too, so we can help you get some of that information out to the community as well. We want to make sure that that's something everyone has access to.
I would greatly appreciate that opportunity.
Awesome. The more voices. In fact, you're coming back on Wednesday for another interview. We're going to discuss what the difference in levy types are, right?
Right, correct.
Awesome. Well, we definitely have appreciated that you're willing to spend your evening here, and we look forward to speaking to you again in a couple of days.
All right.
Thank you, everybody else, for joining us this evening, and we hope you tune in on Wednesday to hear and learn what the difference between an emergency levy and some of the other levy types that are currently available to the community, for the community to use. So thank you so much, and have a lovely Sunday.